Hey everybody, it's Casual Boops coming at you with another video, and today we're going to cover the Charlemagne. Thank the British for the way that's spelled and pronounced. The Charlemagne, which is a new Tier 8 British premium heavy tank at Tier 8 that you can only get by performing well. You buy it with bonds for 8,000 bonds in the Ranked Battles shop. You can only get it after you have played enough or progressed far enough in Ranked Battles to open up the Ranked Battles shop, which I think, I'm not sure the specifics. I think you have to get to like Division 2 or something like that. You grind a little bit and you have the option to buy this thing. So the short version is, do I think this tank is good? Not really. It's not like garbage, unplayable garbage. Like I'd rather play a Charlemagne than a CDC. But do I think the tank is like super OP and you have to totally have this? No, not that either. It's more of a meme than anything else. It's like a novelty. Like it's okay. I would probably play it occasionally, but it's not like the newest bestest thing. So anyways, now I'm going to get into the stats. Basically the short version is it's got very low DPM and it's got a pretty good, 440 alpha is not the highest. Obviously, SCOTUS C56 is 460 with 2 rounds in the clip. Of course, that's really dumb, but this is the same as like a Defender. 440 is still pretty solid and respectable for Tier 8. 220 pen is fine. Standard AP round, a premium AP round, lol, that does 270 pen. And we'll get to the other stuff later. So it's pretty lazy. Honestly, I will say the big thing that you're going to notice about this tank right away is the shell velocity. The standard shell velocity is very slow. Like 600 meters per second is, if you're shooting things at range, it's almost like chucking a football. Like you just oof. But then your premium round goes, gets up to 924, which is a substantial change. But even this is still not very fast. Right, like if this was like 1100 or 1300, that would be getting to the point where it's pretty quick. And like some of the fastest in the game is like 1700. That's like insta. It's like it's like you click and it's there. So this is very slow. Both of these are very slow, and it's something you have to keep in mind. The third HE round is just kind of a standard HE round with the same terrible shell velocity. But basically, what is the tank? It's a slower 35 kilometers per hour top speed that feels really bad. I'm sorry, there it is. 35 feels really bad. It's kind of slow. It's got low DPM, but it does hit pretty hard, and it's got really good gun depression. Right, 10 degrees. I think this is the hardest hitting tank at Tier 8 that has 10 degrees of gun depression. I'm pretty sure there are tanks that hit harder, but having 10 degrees of gun depression and hitting this hard is relatively new. So, it's a novelty. It's got a thing, and that's its whole thing. The standard crew layout for British heavies, which is, good, fine. 380 view range will kind of hold you back a little bit. You're not going to be like the god of spotting, and I felt like I had to do enough I didn't feel like I could throw optics on there and make this work. But, yeah, 15, a power to weight of 16. It felt like I threw a turbo on this just to get the tank to wake up a little bit and get up to like 38. And I think it might get an improved mobility slot, so that'll be big because then it gets to 40. But the power to weight felt fairly peppy, so like it definitely used the turbo. Like I felt like I was at 38 a lot. The reverse speed, I could back up pretty quick. Like this was nice, and it's getting to like 17 or 18 or whatever that was. So like, how do I want to say this? It's not fast, but it's peppy in its slowness. I don't know. It gets up to its top speeds relatively quickly. It's just limited by those speeds. So take from that what you will. But yeah, the gun is 4.42 dispersion is not very good, and the soft stats are kind of blah. The tank traverse, what I basically, you can't take this to every fight and expect to win because you can't be trading with things with this much DPM. Things will just eat you, right? So what I ended up doing was playing this more like a support heavy tank that was like, peeking over a ridge, slapping somebody, and then wait to reload because, oh my god, like 16 seconds of reload just feels like an eternity sometimes. And the 3.36 aim time is also an eternity. You'll see that in the replay. So that's kind of the high points of the stats. Ground resistances are okay. Yeah, okay, so armor model. Let's go into the armor model. So this is a little bit of a weird tank. It has a cupola, which, not that weird. It has an upper plate and a lower plate, but here's the tricky thing. So the actual armor on the lower plate is 168, and the actual armor on the upper plate is 130. But if you're looking straight at it, they're angled in such a way that it's about the same, about 228 on the on the lower plate, and about 228, 230 or so on the upper plate. So like the lower plate is not a weak spot, unless it's like flattened for you. Uh, so, so I've trolled people with this before in a few games that I've played in the thing, where like if you can pen the hull, and just this is the kind of like if you're a tier 6, you know, F you, I guess. Same with a tier 7, unless you're willing to tap 2. And tier 8s, this is about a 50-50 for, you know, like you're seeing the, you know, 220 pen is about, you know, middle of the road for tier 8. So you're seeing it's like a 50-50 whether you're going to pen this straight on for most tier 8s, right? If things tap 2, then you don't have hull armor. But the important thing is, like, the lower plate is not the weak spot. You just hit it anywhere, and you know, hit it anywhere in the hull, and it's flat, and you're good to go. Turret is okay, but you'll notice around the mantlet, you know, you get to 170, and that's gonna piss people off. This is you're gonna be in a Charlemagne, you're gonna think you're solid, and you're using a gun depression, you're set, and then someone's gonna hit a flat spot and pen anyways. And so just be aware that the turret is pretty okay, but you're meant to kind of bob and weave a little bit and use some of that angle-y bits, and, you know, move around and make it hard to hit, because if they can hit a flat spot, they're going to go in. It can side scrape pretty well. Like, I want to say here, if you did one of these things, like, again, aside from you just shoot these things in the face, and you're in good shape, right? But, or maybe the cupola, but it's a small cupola. So if you're not shooting it in the face, it can actually side scrape pretty well. And this is, you know, because the angles are pretty okay, and side armor, eventually your side armor is not awesome. 70 millimeters it'll get the job done, but it's pretty well sloped. But again, 10 degrees of gun depression almost all the way around. The back obviously not, but like it's a pretty flexible, and it's not like the turret is solid enough, and the hull is troll enough, I think, that it's, you know, it's okay. It's again, it's a good support heavy tank, and it's fairly mobile in its slowness. God, what a weird thing to say. But, you know, it's fine. It's meant to just pop up, tag somebody, and then pop back down. And it does that pretty well. So this is the armor, you know, obviously the top and stuff. There's also, like, I will say, this is like the Concept 1B, where the engine deck is a little taller than the rest of the tank back here. So if you do see one of these guys side scraping, I mean, I guess you could hit that, but that's not really any weaker than the front. So if you can see this little engine part, you can also see this. So you might as well just shoot this. I guess it doesn't really matter. But, you know, be aware that this little shelf exists for whatever reason you need to shoot that. But, you know, side and back, or, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Probably going to get ripped up by Artie, because of course. But, you know, it's if you see one of these things, you're not really sure what to do with it, just shoot it in the face. Right there. And you'll be fine. So that's the armor. What did I use for... I think that I used, for equipment, I definitely had a turbo on there, and I would recommend that, because it's... being able to get to the fight is a big deal for this thing, or being able to run away, and it was really, really nice to have that. And again, with the mobility slot, that's going to bring this up to even more. I think maybe like 42, 41. But I did this, and I liked it. But then from there, it's kind of all about the gun. I would probably... I guess I'd probably do you know, either a V-stab, and definitely need a rammer, because oh my god, the reload. But from there, I think, okay, let me okay. These are the two things that I would say that are definitely required, because you want to get to the fight, and you need that reload to be down as much as you possibly can. Now the third slot is kind of, it's debatable. I'm probably going to hit up maybe you know, some of the other CCs to see what they're talking about. But I tried a few different variations. I tried some vents. That was fine. I tried a V-stab, and that was okay. But, you know, the soft stats aren't actually that bad. You know, I didn't try a gun lane drive, but you might actually do that, because the gun aiming speed is so slow that, you know, it actually takes off a third of a second. So maybe I also tried the improved aiming to get this down, but even, you know, between 0.4 and 0.42 and 0.4 is still bad. So like, I'm not sure exactly what the correct answer is with the last slot, to be honest. I think that either one of what I've just mentioned is probably okay. Vents, V-stab, you know, gun lane drive maybe. Actually, I would probably go with the gun lane drive over the I'm sorry. You should probably always be running a vertical stabilizer over a gun lane drive. I think that's mathematically correct all the time, if I'm not mistaken. But in any case, I think it's probably between a vents, a V-stab, or an improved aiming. So, mess around with it, see what you think about it, play with it, I guess. And let me know, guys, what you decide, if you end up getting this thing, what you end up playing with it, and what you like. So that is, let's see, we talked about the tank and the armor and the equipment, and I think I've covered everything. Yeah, let's get into the replay. All right, so on this particular game, we're going to be watching me play the Charlemagne on my Sheriff account. Had a rental on the Sheriff account to play around with the thing, and we're platooned up with the Oscar, who's also another streamer, and we are headed to, we're on Lakeville, and it's a tier 8 game with tier 7s in the game and 1 arty. So, obviously you're going to see tier 10s in this tank and tier 9s and stuff, and I normally like to show you what, ups and downs and so on, but I didn't have a lot of time to play the tank, and this is kind of, this is not the best game that anyone has ever had, but I figured this tank, or this game, showed the strong points and the weak points of the tank, so I wanted to, this is a pretty representational game, so I figured I'd show you guys this one. And you're seeing here, like, I'm getting to 38, 39, and it's still, like, it gets up to speed pretty quick, but at this point I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I really would want to be here, because we've got, my platoon is heading this way, but man, I don't know. And I'm emboldened by the fact that Kampfpanzer just ate a bunch, half of his hit points are gone, so, I'm gonna get in there and take the dip in the secret way, and hope that I don't die alone. But it looks like our guard is thinking about going there too. Like, I just didn't want to get in the dip by myself, because this thing has such bad DPM that it can't go anywhere by itself. You just get rushed. But you'll see, like, it's not a fast tank, but the turbo allows it to get to 38, 39, and it was keeping that speed pretty good. So, with the gun, okay, so there's our Kampfpanzer friend, and you get to slap him for 474, and we're loading. Still loading. Even now, still loading. I'm just trying to get you guys... Okay, and now, finally now, we're good to go. And I had food in this tank as well, so, like, I tried to make this about as good as it could possibly be. There's just no getting around the fact that the reload is long. You're going to lose every single firefight. But here we do, we have a solid-ish turret and 10 degrees of gun depression. And so, we're able to put a round into the Emil's side. His what is that, the part of the drive wheel to track him in place, and he just got ganked. And so now we're waiting, and we're going to shift positions between our shots, and don't see a whole lot of resistance. So we're going to bum rush this Wheezy, because most of their team appears to be in the town. So you need to make a play, right? When you see that they're weak on the side that you're on, and you are on that side, you got to make it happen. Make it go press forward, lead to contact, or what is it? We can't afford to sit here and take pot shots at the Wheezy. We need to push this flank so we don't lose the game. And our shovel Kampfpanzer is face hugging. Never do this. I would love to shoot that guy and help him, but I can't because the Kampfpanzer's in the way. So, but yeah, so here we are. We're going again, moving along, and we're right back up to 35, 36, 37, 38, and so yeah, it's a fairly low profile tank with a fairly small turret that's fairly solid. But here's the drawback to the low profile, is that it doesn't take a lot of water to drown this thing either, so you got to be careful of that. Yeah, I mean, so you're noticing, like, the gun handling is okay, and you're going to see a lot more of that. And, the shots that we've taken have been fairly long, or fairly short range shots. But here I'm going to use this hillside, and God, look at how slow. Like, I sat there for maybe a second, hoping that the gun would kind of aim in a little bit, and it just didn't go anywhere. So just, oh my god, I don't know. The gun definitely does not want you to be sniping. That's pretty obvious, right? From the god-awful shell velocity to the really, really slow aim time. Like, look, oh my god. Alright, so that's Super Hellcat's in the town. And I figure, normally, was because we have tanks lined up on the inside of this bowl, right on the far side of that hill, I figured this is a pretty safe place to be. And okay, yep, they are paying attention. Otherwise, I'm putting my hands putting my life in the hands of the people on my team, which is kind of dangerous, for public games, for random battles. You just never know what your team is thinking or doing. But I'm going to get on the inside here and try to light some targets and use my fairly solid turret to get in there and to light some people up and to create a problem, right? Because I'm assuming if they rush me, then... And I did not expect the stirp to be there, ready to go, and okay, yep, we're aiming, and we missed the shot. We don't actually get a round in because I'm trying to aim the gun as well as we can. So, you know, but we did light the stirp, and the stirp is mostly dead now because of that. So I guess mission accomplished or something. And you know, the idea here is that if somebody were to rush me, oh my god, aim. And I got impatient. That was a bad shot. I should have sat there and let the thing aim in some more. But you can see the accuracy is not great, and the aim time is also not great. So you really, and the reload's not great, so you really need to make every shot count, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there for 16 seconds reloading and thinking about your life choices. So I'm not making that mistake again. We're just going to sit and wait. Wait for a good shot. Wait. And I can't believe that one hit. We had a sliver of hull, and it went exactly where we asked, so okay. So now we're going to keep going on our little journey on the inside of this bowl here, assuming, again, that if they were to rush us in this bowl, that would, you know, we'd have 3 or 4 of our allies to shoot them and kill them, so it wouldn't be worth it for them to, you know, to go in on us all the way like that. And we see a Tiger P. Now pay attention to the gun here. Pay attention. There's my shot. Aiming. And there it goes. So that moment, I think, was when that happened in this game. I decided I was going to show this replay to you guys because it's just, you know, you can see how it's fairly mobile in a way, right? It doesn't go fast, but it does, you know, it's got good, it seems like good power to weight. But like, God, the gun is just, you really have to let that gun lay in, because if you don't, you are going to have a bad time. And so like I said in the beginning of the video, I think there's a novelty here because it does slap pretty hard. It's kind of, I don't know, interesting, but I wouldn't get this tank over like the Concept 1B or the Kampfpanzer. Those tanks are definitely better and more overpowered? Question mark? I'm not sure, but they're definitely better tanks, I think, even tier for tier. But, you know, whatever. I think this is how most reward tanks should be. It's kind of quirky. It's weird. It can have good games. You can have fun in the tank, but it's not going to break the game. So I think they should probably all be this way, to be quite honest. Maybe even all premiums should probably be this way, where it's back in the day, man. A little more awkward. You're making credits and stuff, but you're not face rolling things. But, you know, we're using the mobility. We're going to flank around this VZ. And I'm hoping that somebody's going to be able to keep that Panther down. Because I know that the Panther has side shots on me. And, whoop, okay. Never mind. But that's okay. The game is won. We've got 8 tanks to their 1 tank, and this Panther's all by himself there. So he's going to die. It doesn't matter. I just figured I'd get in there and get one last kill. And so, yeah, we're going to wait for the Panther to get cleaned up, for the game to end. But, we'll just end it now. Anyways, the Panther gets cleaned up. That's what we need to know. So, all right. So at the end of the game, we ended up pulling home 2,600 damage and what is that? 4 kills. 4 kills with 1,700 assist, and it was a first-class badge, not an ace tanker. Again, this is not, you know, people have had better games than this, and you will probably play better games than this. I wanted to show this one to you because I felt like it was fairly representational. You know, it showed some of the, you know, the mobility and some of the good stuff. You could slap people pretty hard, and some of the bad stuff where the gun was really derpy. So I wanted to give an accurate representation, and I felt like this game kind of did that. We did make 174,000 credits, but after taxes, that only left us with 108,000 or whatever, something like that. But 1,149 base XP, and yeah, I think we got a mission that gave us a whole bunch of credits, and so that was 65. So without that, I think we still would have made 45,000 credits. I don't know. I was shooting a lot of premium. So that probably, and I had, you know, full food and everything else that if you were to buy that in advance, that would make everything a little bit easier. So it can make money, but I will say that it's probably credit earning potential is a little bit diminished because the standard rounds are such bad shell velocity that even if you don't need the penetration, you're going to want to be tapping 2 just so that you can get the rounds to land where you want. You know, with the premium rounds, you get that much better shell velocity. It makes it a lot easier to lead targets, and you know, standard rounds, they're just you're not hitting EBRs with the standard rounds in this tank. So I think it's, like I said, I don't think the tank is quite is very good. to be honest, but I don't think that's a bad thing, to be real with you. Like, they probably should have more tanks like this. So anyways, that is the game, and that's the tank. If you guys want something novel and interesting and, you know, a little weird, then this is probably the tank for you, and hopefully this has decided or helped you decide whether you want to devote time to playing ranked battles in the upcoming season. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.